Before dawn, the quiet of the Mpumalanga Highveld was violently shattered by the sound of crushing metal, breaking glass, and flames. At approximately 1 a.m., along a well-known stretch of the N4 toll road between Makadadorp and Belfast, two sedans slammed into each other head-on at high speed, ending 7 lives within seconds. As daylight crept in, the road was no longer simply a link between towns, it had become a scene of sorrow, mangled vehicles, and unanswered questions that will follow grieving families forever. For those traveling in the cars, the trip had begun like so many others before it, a late-night drive, possibly heading home, visiting relatives, or trying to move quickly along a quiet highway. Somewhere between Makadadorp and Belfast, however, everything went tragically wrong. Emergency responders arriving at the scene were met with devastation. Both vehicles were completely wrecked from the impact. 7 people were declared dead at the scene, while one severely injured survivor was rushed to a Belfast hospital, fighting to stay alive. Authorities confirmed the crash occurred around 1 a.m., a time often marked by exhaustion, limited visibility, and poor judgment. Although investigations are still underway, preliminary findings suggest that reckless overtaking and excessive speed may have contributed to the collision. These behaviors remain among the deadliest on South Africa's roads. A brief lapse in patience, an attempt to pass without clear visibility, or the assumption that there is enough time can turn fatal in seconds. Driving at night only magnifies these risks. Headlights can mislead distance perception, approaching vehicles seem farther away than they are, reactions slow, and tiredness clouds decision-making. When two vehicles collide head-on at high speed, survival chances are minimal. Mpumalanga Community Safety, Security and Liaison spokesperson Jackie Macy described the incident as yet another harsh reminder of how merciless the country's roads can be. He called on drivers to remain highly alert, particularly during nighttime travel when visibility drops and mistakes become irreversible. Roads are shared spaces, he emphasized, and motorists must do everything possible to prevent avoidable deaths. Macy also urged those driving long distances to stop regularly and rest, warning that fatigue continues to be a hidden but deadly threat. Many serious crashes, especially those occurring in the early morning hours, involve drivers who push forward despite exhaustion, unaware that their focus has already faded. For the loved ones of the 7 victims, these warnings arrived far too late. In the early hours of Saturday morning, phones rang with devastating news. Police officers knocked on doors. Families were jolted awake to learn that someone they cherished would never return. No words can lessen that pain. Crash investigators are now reconstructing the moments leading up to impact, studying skid marks, scattered debris, and vehicle positions to determine precisely what happened and where responsibility lies. Even without a final report, a troubling pattern is already evident. This tragedy on the N4 is not an isolated event. Just 1 day earlier, another horrific collision occurred hundreds of kilometers away on Christmas Day. On the N1 near Mukafong in Limpopo's Vembi district, a passenger bus bound for Zimbabwe collided head-on with an Isuzu heavy motor vehicle. The crash happened around 8:30 a.m. in full daylight, yet the consequences were equally devastating. The Limpopo Department of Transport and Community Safety reported that reckless and negligent driving was the likely cause. The Isuzu driver is believed to have overtaken on a barrier line, striking the oncoming Delta passenger bus. Both drivers died instantly. Inside the bus, panic and confusion followed. 2 passengers suffered serious injuries, while 4 others were critically hurt. What should have been a journey home for the festive season turned into a scene of sirens, blood, and broken lives. In both incidents, the N4 in Mpumalanga and the N1 in Limpopo, the same dangers emerge: illegal overtaking, excessive speed, and split-second decisions with irreversible consequences. During South Africa's festive season, long-distance travel increases sharply. Drivers push through fatigue, alcohol plays a role in some cases, and in others, impatience or overconfidence proves deadly. The result is a yearly loss of life that has become disturbingly familiar. When tragedy becomes routine, it loses its power to force change. Yet behind every statistic is a deeply personal story. On the N4, the lone survivor now faces a painful road to recovery, both physically and emotionally, carrying injuries alongside the heavy knowledge that 7 others did not survive. Emergency responders are also left scarred by scenes they cannot forget, twisted wreckage, unbearable silence, and the repeated task of confirming death, often knowing these crashes could have been avoided. Road safety experts continue to echo Macy's plea, warning that nighttime driving on undivided highways such as parts of the N4 and N1 is especially hazardous. Fatigue can impair judgment as severely as alcohol, speed shortens reaction time, and overtaking across barrier lines removes the final safeguard between vehicles traveling at lethal force. Despite this, drivers continue to gamble. Some trust their skills too much, others feel pressured by time, and many underestimate how quickly disaster can strike. But the laws of physics offer no compromise. At high speeds, head-on collisions are frequently fatal, and safety features like seat belts and airbags have limits. Police investigations into the N4 crash remain ongoing, and authorities have stated that anyone found to have driven recklessly will face the full weight of the law. Still, accountability cannot restore what was lost. Families are left planning funerals instead of celebrations, facing empty seats and futures forever altered. As festive season travel continues and roads stay crowded, these crashes serve as grim reminders etched in twisted steel and shattered lives. Slow down. Take breaks when tired. Obey barrier lines. Remember that every vehicle shares the road with someone else's loved one. Because whether in the darkness of a 1 a.m. drive or on a Christmas morning journey, a single reckless choice can turn joy into tragedy. 7 people on the N4 will never witness another sunrise, and without change, they will not be the last.